But I think every American should be extremely cautious about anybody who says they want to deploy American troops on U.S. soil.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Opinions Vary, Opinions with an A. Please like, share, and subscribe. And the left is freaking out over Trump saying he's going to use the military to aid in his plan for mass deportations. They're having a complete breakdown without even putting any thought into it. They're just saying, oh, the military is going to be rounding people up, putting them in camps, all the hyperbolic extremes you could think of to try to set everybody off to try and derail it. It's not going to work. The American public voted. They want Trump to carry out mass deportations. The majority of the country, when polled, agrees with it. So as hard as they're going to try, it isn't going to work. Besides the fact, as I'm just going to show you now, we have had the military deployed but in the public just recently. In March of 2024, Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, she deployed the National Guard into the subways to help stop the rising crime wave there. Let's take a look. Okay, so you saw that. So now we're going to get into a CNN clip with Scott Jennings against Paul Rieckoff, who is a Iraq war vet who's a liberal, and he's going to be going back and forth with Paul Rieckoff on the military being used to aid in the mass deportation effort. And like I said, you're going to get into some hyperbole, and like Scott Jennings says at one point, way down a rabbit hole, and it's all meant to instill fear into the American public that maybe this isn't such a good idea. Like I said, not going to work. Let's get into it.
There's nothing more sacred or more serious that you could ask an American service member to do than deploy opposite American civilians. It is really a sacred and terrifying prospect for anybody who's been in uniform. I've been to combat. You could send me to Iraq, but to stand me across from American protesters in situations like we've seen across America is wrought with a tremendous burden you're going to put on men and women in uniform. So it has to be approached with the utmost seriousness. And obviously, there's no General Milley there now to stop a deployment like this. So we'll find out if the Secretary of Defense is confirmed and how the senior leadership and the Joint Chiefs respond to it. But I think every American should be extremely cautious about anybody who says they want to deploy American troops on U.S. soil.
Stop right there. A couple things. Okay. Number one, these aren't American citizens. Stop conflating illegal aliens with American citizens. Number one. Number two, I don't care if General Milley is there or not. Donald Trump is going to be, as of January 20th, the commander-in-chief. If he says we are deploying the U.S. military to the border or to certain cities to aid law enforcement in mass deportations, that's what they're going to do. That's why he's the commander-in-chief. So there's that.
Number one, they're not being deployed against American citizens. They're being deployed against the illegal immigration population, which, by the way, I think most people would agree is a national emergency, a national security emergency. Number two, for years, we've been deploying the National Guard to the
wildfires.
To the border.
For wildfires.
No, to the border.
In small numbers.
So he just interrupted Scott Jennings, which is going to be important to see as this video goes on, because he shouldn't be interrupted, but he can interrupt everybody else. And Scott Jennings doesn't mention what I just showed. He probably forgot about the National Guard just very recently being deployed into New York City subways.
This is a very different thing. You can't deploy them to.
You got to make your speech.
Is it a debate with you, or am I answering questions with the host? Because every time I come on, you want
He's filibustering him right now.
to sidetrack and take me into your talking point.
By all means,
no.
Have at it, my friend. You're the expert. Have at it.
No, I'm no expert. I'm just a concerned American.
You act like one. Have we or have we not?
Have you served in uniform?
And here he goes with "Have you served?" which meanwhile has really nothing to do with the argument they're having. Nothing.
I have served as a United States citizen and have read the
but
newspaper.
I think in this case, I might have a bit of experience that you don't. I'm no expert.
Have you been to the border?
I have not been to the border.
Oh, so
I also haven't been deployed to the border.
Go ahead, by all means.
Regular military. Is there something different about having regular military at the border? I'm asking.
Well, one
Absolutely.
also I think we have to remember too, though, he did this in his first term. He declared a national emergency to unlock DoD resources, which could be used then to construct the wall. And so by declaring a national emergency, he can then activate military, not just not like personnel, but also resources, whether that is constructing encampments, using military flights, using other means to get these illegal immigrants out of
Yeah,
our
the idea
country.
that any of that's going to happen in abstract without protesters and other Americans getting involved is delusional. I mean, if you go into any American city and start setting up encampments to put whoever in there you want, there are going to be citizens who are going to protest. There are going to be journalists. There are going to be a multitude of fraught and really daunting challenges for a 19-year-old holding a weapon in an American street.
Couple things right there. You can protest, but you have no right to disrupt that operation. If you do, you should be placed under arrest for obstructing governmental administration, amongst other charges. Second thing he said, a 19-year-old standing with a gun in an American street, or whatever you just said. We have 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds who do that all the time. They're called police officers.
That is something
What's
that
the
everybody
alternative?
should be
To let the
cautious of.
crisis continue?
Wait a second.
It's not deploy the 82nd or let the crisis continue. There are plenty of middle grounds. And by the way, our military has got plenty of other priorities they need to focus on in addition to these.
What's a bigger priority than protecting the United States of America on American soil from illegal aliens who aren't supposed to be here, many of which have committed crimes that the ones that we know of. Forget about the ones that we have no idea about. Talk about these people think this is a winning argument for them? Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
I mean, I would just tell you that the election results tell me the priority that the American people want focused on is illegal immigration.
That doesn't
so whatever
mean
the
they want
priorities
this
are,
used as a
they want this solved now.
They want to solve it. They don't want the 82nd Airborne dropping in New York City.
I'll tell you something.
I think you're being a little dramatic.
I have a shop in my neighborhood, actually right in my neighborhood, on the Upper West Side of Manhattan.
Okay. Upper West Side of Manhattan, very wealthy area. I want to know where this shelter is near her in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, how close it is, and if she's ever walked by it, number one. Number two, this is one of her many houses, because in another segment that I did a while ago, she said, my other house in Pennsylvania. This is an elitist, so let's just be clear and aware of who we're hearing from right now.
There is a shelter that houses undocumented immigrants. And I can guarantee
Illegal aliens.
you, I can
fixed it for you.
promise you with every fiber of my being, because I'll probably be one of those people,
Sure you will.
that if anybody comes for these people and tries to drag them out by force, there will be protests of people like me, American citizens, who are going to stand there and do everything possible to prevent these women and children, which is
Then you should be placed under arrest.
all who these people are. from
How
being
about the
forced-
criminals?
From being,
How about the terrorists? How about the
How do you
convicted
sort
Stop.
through
How do you know who it
How do
is?
you sort through
All-
Yeah, how do you know who the terrorists and the criminals are? I mean, do you hear what she just said? Do you realize how ridiculous you sound? No, you don't. You don't even realize how ridiculous you sound.
That's the problem.
I
You
live,
don't know who
stop,
it is.
stop. I'm sorry. I live next to these people. I can tell you they are women and they are children. Are there terrorists among them? I don't know, but I can.
You can't make it up. You can't make this up.
tell you that
And
there.
neither does the government,
But I
which
can
is why
tell
we
you.
have to
But
figure
let
this
me tell.
out.
Okay, but what I'm telling you right now, practically speaking, is that there will be people, American citizens, who will prevent these little kids from being dragged out of these shelters. There are. And what's going to happen to these people? What is going to happen to the
They're going to be deported.
military when the military opens fire on us?
No one's.
Hang on one sec, Chuck. I just
We're
wanna
way
ask you,
down a
because
rabbit hole here.
You ran and won.
I got to rewind it.
races
I got to
for
rewind it.
Democrats.
I got to hear it again.
But I
Which
can
is why
tell
we
you,
have to
but
figure
let
this
me tell.
out.
Okay, but what I'm telling you right now, practically speaking, is that there will be people, American citizens, who will prevent these little kids from being dragged out of these shelters. There are. And what's going to happen to these people? What is going to happen to the military when the military opens fire on us?
No one's.
Can I just say, hang on one sec, Chuck. I just
We're
wanna ask
way
you,
down a
because
rabbit hole here.
You ran and won races for some Democrats in some border states, or helped run and win some races. What do you think the mandate is?
Why has he got to wear the hat? This guy comes on all the time. I don't even remember his name. But he thinks by wearing this hat that it makes him look like he's not a far left progressive, that it makes him look like he's a tough law and order guy. It's just stop. Nobody's buying the act. No one. It's Halloween every day for this guy.
I think the mandate is that you got to separate some of this. You know, I've been doing campaigns for almost 38 years. My grandparents came here from Mexico. I deal with immigrants. 2 of my business partners are immigrants.
Are they legal immigrants or are they illegal? Somebody please ask the question. They don't, but somebody please ask the question. Stop conflating it. We got to stop letting them conflate immigrants and illegal immigrants. 2 completely different things.
And yes, I got to work for Ruben Gallego in Arizona. We talked about the border, and I was there from day one with Ruben. And Ruben is a Marine combat veteran who saw some stuff in overseas that I never want to comprehend that he fought for me, right? This morning, in my own building, in my own group of, in my staff meeting, let me put it this way, I'm sorry to get dramatic, but we had to have a meeting this morning because one of my employees, who is an immigrant,
Illegal or legal?
she's been here since she was 6 years old. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't drink. She has no criminal record. And she's against her religion to even say anything bad. We had to figure out what we would do when her TPS expires in March. If she has to self-deport, when she went to school here, she's been educated here, she is one of the finest human beings I've ever met.
That's great. When it expires, she can go out, and she sounds like a great person. She should have no trouble coming back through legally and becoming a permanent American citizen at some point. Very simple, sir. It's very simple. This isn't rocket science. None of this is rocket science. None of it.
That doesn't mean that every single person who comes here, Scott, is perfect. But I'm just saying we have to separate some of this and think about this.
The
in
challenge
different
of
ways.
sorting through them is mammoth. We had a hard time doing it in Iraq.
So?
Okay, our troops have had a hard time doing it in Afghanistan. Trying to ask them to sort through who's who and implement a policy like this, hold on, here in the United States
So he can't even let the host interrupt him, this guy. This guy's a dick.
is like nothing
All due respect to your military service, you're a dick.
we've ever seen.
Actually-
I mean, hold on, maybe the only precedent we have is internment camps during World War II against Japanese Americans, but there's not a military precedent
Done by FDR.
for sorting through who on the Upper East Side is illegal and who's not. And you're asking a 19-year-old, right, holding a weapon, who signed up to serve his or her country to
He would be serving his or her country. Yes, he would be serving his or her country. The 19-year-old, yes. They would be in service of their country if they were helped to sort out who was legal, who was illegal. Yes, they would be doing a great service to their country.
thrust themselves into maybe the most fraught political topic that we've got in this country. People want a solution, but they don't necessarily want that one.
You twice now insinuated that Trump's going to send the military to round up American citizens, which is totally false. There are 1.3 to 1.6 million illegal immigrants in this country today who have already received deportation orders from a court. You can start there. There's another population, as Mark said, that have either committed violent crimes in the United States or committed violent crimes where they came from. You can also do that. That has nothing to do with the people in your neighborhood, has nothing to do with the person in your office, and has nothing to do with whatever the hell you're talking about. It has to do with getting people out of the country
then how-
who do
how-
not belong.
And
Trump
how
said
are
all
you, how are
50
you
million.
going to deploy the military? Give me how exactly you would deploy an active duty military unit to respond to this crisis.
Wait, you just said you're the guy who served. You were in the military. Why don't you tell him how? You were the guy touting, you were in the uniform, you did this, and he didn't. Why are you asking him? Why don't you come up with some idea? You're the military guy.
I would use the military in conjunction with local officials,
What does that look
local
like?
law enforcement, county sheriffs, people who know their communities, because I assume a lot of the local sheriffs and jailers are going to be the people who end up housing some of these folks before they are deported. But there has
What's
to be
the task
some
and purpose? What's the mission for that
is
young private? What
the
is he actually
mission-
going to be tasked to do? Guard a gate?
He just answered your question, and now you just keep going. You keep going further. You keep moving the goalpost.
Or is he going to be investigating?
I don't know. I wasn't elected
But you're sitting here on
president,
CNN
but
saying we
there's-
should
but
do
there's
it. I think you
millions-
should think
there
out a
are
little bit.
And you're sitting here on CNN saying there's no way to do it.
millions
about
of
what they
people in
actually
this
should be
country
required to do.
who do not
'Cause it
belong.
sounds
here.
real good.
One at a time. Scott, quickly. then
There are millions of people who came into the country illegally, who have already received deportation orders, or who have committed some other crime while they've been here. The fact that you want to leave them in place is mind-boggling.
That is not
to
what
me.
I said. That is not what I
Let
said.
me ask the same question I asked Chuck.
Yeah.
What was the mandate from the election? As much as any issue, immigration was on the ballot. So what do you think the voters were saying on immigration?
I think the voters are saying do something about it. I think broadly across partisan lines, there is almost universal need for people to do something about it. What you do about it is a totally different story. Can I finish? Or are you guys going to jump in?
See, here he goes. He can't have anybody interrupt him. He interrupted everybody on this panel. Somebody says something while he's talking. You guys can interrupt me every single time. Just like I said, this guy's a dick.
I know this is like the normal thing around here, but I'm trying to have a conversation without getting cut in half every time. The question becomes, what are you actually going to give them as a military assignment? Are they going to be guards on a gate? Are they going to be MPs doing checkpoints? Are they going to be doing crowd control against civilians who are protesting? Are they going to be JAG officers sorting through legal cases? What they actually are assigned to do is very important. And when that's put before the American people, I think we can find out what they do and don't support.
Yeah, we support everything Trump wants to do, which means if he needs to use the military to aid in this project of this mass deportation, we're all for it. And we'll trust who he puts in place to carry it out safely and effectively for everybody. That's what we're going to do, okay? Their argument, and from the left, what you're getting there is it's a part of the Cloward-Piven strategy. And if you don't know what the Cloward-Piven strategy is, you can even go on Wikipedia, and it gives you a reasonable definition of what it is. It's, in short, it's crashing the system to the point where it just collapses and then has to be remade in a totally different image. In their view, the socialist image. So what you're getting there is portion that was, oh, what are we supposed to do about this? How are we supposed to sort these people out? I mean, God, I don't think we can do it. I mean, it seems like too big of a task. Just forget it. That's what you're getting. You're getting the system's crashed. We need to rebuild it, but the way we want it, which means amnesty. That's what they want, okay? That's what they want. Now, in this country, we thoroughly screen every single American citizen who travels via plane every single day. Every day. They go to the airport. They walk through machines that scan their bodies through and through. Then some of them are patted down on top of that. Then some of them are sat down to have another conversation if the people that are there deem necessary. And we get from them, we can't. How are we supposed to sort these people out? I mean, you realize what a task this is? Right. It's a task that you caused. That's what it is. See? Like I always say, they caused the problem. Then when you want to solve the problem, you're the problem. So we're the problem now because we want to carry out the deportations. See how this works? You see how this all works? See how they think? The more people understand this, the more we can counter it. Without firing a shot, without getting violent, without anything. Just by saying what I'm saying right now. They have no answer to it. None. And the fact that, what's the problem with our military standing on our border with their weapons pointed out? That's the whole purpose of our military in our country. We don't have a military right where the weapons are pointed in. We have it where they're pointed out. So this whole being the hyperbole of we have American soldiers now pointing guns at American citizens. No. They're there to get people who don't belong here in the first place out, and then we will keep them out with our military. I would have the military all along the border. All along. Aiding Border Patrol, aiding ICE, whatever they needed. That's what I would do. But we'll see. So this whole, I just think it's so interesting how the left tries to counter this argument when they just got absolutely eviscerated in this election, largely in part due to this argument. And the poll numbers on immigration have shifted dramatically in the last 4 years in favor of deportations and strengthening the border and building a wall. Kamala Harris was at the point where she was showing the wall in her campaign ads. That's how much it has shifted since 2017, dramatically. Okay, so if they want to keep going down this road of finding ways for this not to happen, they're doing it to their own doom. Is how I'm going to say it. Okay, so tell me what you guys think. Please like, share, and subscribe. Continue to follow me at Opinions Vary.